Hey there, my name is Amber Kivett, and I am your leader in health and wellness with Lifepro. I have been in the sports medicine industry, strength coaching, a little combination of a lot of different certifications since 2000, well, since early 2000, really. 98, 2000 is when I started into my sports medicine program, as well as double majoring in kinesiology exercise science. So I have been working with individuals for over 25 years when it comes to balance, coordination, proprioception, as well as neuroplasticity. And so today's special episode is here to teach you through a variety of different exercises that we originally started to use in a physical therapy rehabilitation setting, and now is becoming an integral part of everyday life for not only senior citizens, those who have are overcoming injury or have had a surgery, or even professional athletes who are trying to get better and leveling up in their game. It has to start with neuroplasticity, proprioception, coordination, and balance. So I'm going to share with you today some of my favorite tips and tricks that I have used over the last 25 years and how to integrate that with vibration plate training. So if you don't have a vibration plate at this point, that is quite all right, because you can do all of these exercises with or without whole body vibration. But if you add whole body vibration to it, it is going to level you up to a different level of ability to move and sense the surroundings within you. Because vibration, with our whole body vibration plates, it is naturally stimulating up to 80% of your muscle fibers to become excitatory and to twitch and to actually actively fire. From an involuntary response, which means the brain is not providing the information for that to happen. It is a response to an action, and our body naturally develops those nerve endings, those nerve cells, those proprioceptors, and how the brain picks up information, neuroplasticity. That all starts through the ground. Problem is, we get so different through life, with whether it is an accident or whether it is a disability, or you've got a setback, or you just have never really focused on that type of training. And the older we get, especially towards hormonal andropause or menopause, the more we lose the ability to balance and to recover and to restore, and we age potentially very quickly, depending on how our body is receiving energy from its environment, from its surroundings. So let's talk about some definitions very, very quickly. Proprioception is your body's awareness in space, okay? And there are a lot of things that go into how we move efficiently, effectively, but there's a lot of firing signals, electrically speaking, from our brain through our nervous system that is usually a split second ahead of our thought process and taking action. And so our body already kind of knows what it's supposed to do for the most part. We just have to get out of the way. If we should get injured, or if we should be given some kind of an autoimmune condition, whether it's Parkinson's, or we go through cancer treatments, or we've got fibromyalgia or MS, then some of those signaling processes can get a little off track, in which we have to reteach and retrain our body to be able to not only sense that, but for us to actually cognitively be aware of it. So that's proprioception. Neuroplasticity is the body's way for the brain to rewire itself. And so, again, neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reprogram, rewire itself. And it is constantly going through those rebooting, resynchronizing patterns, if you will. This video is just kind of a smartphone update in order to change the software up here, because your brain is always capable of reprogramming itself and doing things it's never done, but also going back to things that it's always done. And so what I want you to remember, no matter what your diagnosis is, your brain is always interested in change. When our body is used to feeling the same thing, doing the same thing all the time, it no longer adapts or adjusts, because we have to have a little bit of resistance, a little bit of challenge. So I'm going to take you through some of these balance exercises off the vibration plate, teach you what you really need to be mindful of and knowing, little tips and tricks that you can do at home. And then I'm going to teach you what to do on the vibration plate. So depending on whether you have a base model, whether you have a Rumble X, one of our more all-in-one models, it does not matter. All we need to make sure of is that you have an opportunity to try this, whether you have a vibration plate or not. But if you do have a vibration plate, I want you to focus on choosing a very low setting in your pre-program setting. So if you have a vibration plate that has anywhere from 6 to 10 different programs, choose one of those preset programs, like 1 to 3. If you have a Rumble X, you're going to choose manual mode setting. And if you can't figure that out, there's another video that I've done in years past that teaches you how to program that. But if you're just turning the machine on and increasing the speed, that works. If you're not already using a preset program on one of the Rumble X models, today is not the day to start. So just turn it on. And if it shows as a level of 1, just start there, because when we're really intentional and focusing on balance and coordination, you don't want to add any more challenge to the body when you're trying to reprogram it. Okay. So coordination is just your ability to move in space. Proprioception is our awareness. Coordination is the ability to put balance and proprioception, just walking into a straight line, standing on one leg. There's a lot of different things that create the ability to coordinate all of our body in motion and how we transfer energy and how we absorb it. This all starts on the bottom of the feet. So I'm going to show you my Piggly Wigglies. And so there's the bottom of our feet. Now, there are 3 prominent points that I want you to be very aware of, because if you are not standing on these 3 primary points and you're not aware of standing on these 3 primary points, your balance is already off. And so we have to start from the ground and work our way up. And 25% of the bones in your entire body are in your foot ankle area. So we want to make sure that those bones are coupling and that they're working together, because they're always reshaping, always restructuring. And if you are not aware of how you should be standing, now's a new day. That being said, do you have the ability to squeeze your toes, or are your toes already crunched together? Because if you're used to wearing shoes that are super tight, then you're going to have a really hard time with being able to feel all of those special points. So if your feet feel, hold up here, let's get the glare over with. If your feet are in fun shoes, heels, don't have a big round toe box at the end, that's okay. You don't have to get rid of those shoes, but we do have to figure out how to open and close those toes, because those toes, when they're spread apart, are really important for being able to sense and for balance. If you think about a bird on a perch, they're usually using their claws or their talons in order to be able to stay grounded or to grip for eating. But if you think about how a duck has a bigger foot, so it's able to waddle its bigger body on those 2 paddle-like feet. If we can have a combination of eagle claws with duck feet, and we can create that, then we are giving our body a better opportunity for not only balance, but also for ground force absorption. So in other words, we're giving you free energy if you can open up, spread out, and receive it. So if you're wearing shoes that make your toes feel more crunchy, it's okay. Don't have to get rid of those shoes, but we have to get those toes to be able to spread out. So if you do not have the ability to spread your toes apart, you can do this. You can pull them back and you can crunch them together. But if you can't spread them apart to stick your fingers through them, we have to develop that, because there is a specific band that goes across the ball of your foot, across there. And if it is constricted and if it's not opened up, it does not signal information to the brain for your body to fire in sequence. And there is part of the human brain that only your big toe has access to. So if we're not using that, like, we have to start, because it's like free energy. It's like free money all day, every day. You don't have to work hard for it. You just get to take it. It's free. So if you cannot open and close your toes, spread those apart, you need to get a pair of these toe separators. These are very different than what you would experience going into your local pedicure salon. In other words, when you find these, you can find them on Amazon. If you type in on Amazon, gel toe separators, okay? Gel toe separators. And you want to make sure that it has 5 individual holes, okay? You're not going to walk around in these. You're not going to balance in these. We're just putting these on your toes to be able to create space and open those joints back up, because the body will reshape itself if we change the stress that's placed upon it. So it doesn't matter if you're 80, It doesn't matter if you're 12. It doesn't matter if you're 40. You can still change how your structure of your foot is in position with the ground. And so we have to open that foot structure up so that we can feel and sense a little bit better. 80% of the nerve fibers, the nerve cells that multiple different names for those, nociceptors, proprioceptors, mechanoreceptors, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking like, so we're going to bring it back down. Like 80% of those little receptors that are feeding your brain with energy, awareness, and space, your awareness, your proprioception, 80% of those are on the skin on the bottom of the feet and on the palms of your hands. If we are not exciting those on the bottom of the feet, then you are missing information, which means your body is not moving effectively, efficiently. So let's switch that up. So when you get these, you're going to put these on your Piggly Wigglies, and it might feel very uncomfortable at first because you're not used to having something in between your toes, but just sit down, relax, read a book, listen to an audio, watch another Lifepro video, and you're going to sit with those in for about 10 minutes. 10-15 minutes. Do not sleep in them. That's really important. And do not walk around in them. But you're going to leave them in for 10 minutes to 30 minutes. 30 minutes is not too long. And just allow your body to open up, okay, without you having to force it. So this is a transitional thing, so it gets better and better. And so if your feet start to bother you, just put the gel toe separators in, and it opens up those joints. It opens up this band of tissue, which zings all the way up to the backside. And then feet are very, very happy. So make sure that, again, they run about $10 on Amazon. Again, gel toe separators. So that's what we want to make sure that we're starting with, so that we can make sure that we have something to balance on. Now, there are 3 prominent points on the bottom of the foot. Base of your big toe, base of your little toe, and the center of your heel. It makes a triangle when you position yourself on those 3 points as equally as possible. I've been working in this field, again, for over 25 years. I have worked with thousands of people. I have never met one human that has 2 feet that are assembled the same. And no matter whether you've been told that you're an overpronator or an oversupinator, or you've got a sloppy foot, or you got a fallen arch, it doesn't matter. I have worked with some of the best athletes in the world. Guess what? They have flat feet with no arch, and they're just as fast as those who have a high arch with really good rigid foot ankle support. In other words, if you've been told that you're abnormal, there's nothing such as normal, because we are all uniquely created, one of a kind, and so we have to adapt, one of a kind, okay? So those 3 points, super important. Base of your big toe is A, base of your little toe is B, center of your heel is C, and it makes a triangle, which we refer to as tri-planar foot position. So that is your grounding 3-point position on both feet as you are learning balance. If you're not balancing equally on those 3 points, your body is already off. So you have to make sure that you're able to feel that. And if you don't spread your toes apart, then guess what? You can't feel that. And that means that your pelvic floor is disconnected from the bottom of your feet, which is like major energy inflow. Okay, so I've got a small vibration plate. This is the Waver Mini, is that one. And I've got one of the Rumble X series that's called the Relax-A-Vibe. It's the 3 motors. This is the single motor. So I got both ends of the spectrum covered. But again, today it's not about intensity. It is about just getting in and getting started and just trying. Now, I'm going to be straight up and honest with you. You're all going to suck at doing this starting, and you're going to find that you're going to be really strong on one leg and you're going to be pathetic on the other. It is normal for that to be. What we want to make sure that we are able to do, there's no number of these that you should be doing. We're just trying to hold for a period of time. So each one of these exercises is I'm teaching you how to balance, how to load, how to shift, how to stay on one foot at a time, how to get into like a calf raise position with proper balance. If you can work on that and get yourself into holding some of these positions for 15 to 20 seconds, the incidence of you taking a spontaneous fall unexpectedly is going to significantly drop. So in other words, a lot of the research, the clinical research that they've been doing for 20, 30 years, it has some to do with having lower body strength, but lower body strength does not mean that you're going to be strong and balanced in everything that you do. When it comes to rebalancing, if you've had an injury, doesn't matter how old or how young you are, it's the first thing you lose. And the second thing that you're going to lose is the ability to get your foot from a pointed position to a dorsiflex position. So if you can't pull your foot all the way back, then you cannot pick your foot up to swing through without dragging your toe. And that happens in different people, whether it's Parkinson's or whether you have somebody who's got MS. If you're in one of those categories, that is one of the side effects of that autoimmune disorder. So it's okay. We just have to continue to try and reprogram and reconnect the brain, because you're never too good for this type of exercise. In fact, this is one of those exercises that I teach a lot of professional athletes, and they've never been taught it before because they either weren't injured, or they was rushed through the rehab, or they were working on loading heavy and running fast instead of actually regrounding and balancing, which is the start of all of it. When it comes to neuropathy is a bit tricky, because if you have neuropathy, you can't feel the same. So you have to make sure through visualization, if you cannot feel that you are loading on those 3 points, then you have to be able to see that you are balanced in whatever sensory that you can experience. If you are loading predominantly here on the outside edge of your foot, you're going to feel more pain and more discomfort or disconnection here on the outer side of the body. If you are loading excessively here on the inside of your foot, you're going to have more knee pain here to the inside, as well as having pain more in the hip flexor. So, and again, it doesn't matter how old or how young you are, but if you are approaching that master's athlete's age, which is over the age of 50, hormones drop. So testosterone drops, growth hormone drops. Women who are going into menopause, just got that diagnosis a week ago. Amber, you're in menopause. Awesome. Life is just getting really good right now. So we're just going to keep on going. I'm going to let that define me. I'm going to continue to live like I'm 30, because I don't care what the doctor tells me if I'm in menopause or not. But anyways, in going into that direction, hormones can kind of change how your brain signals. You get more brain fog, you lose balance, you forget words, you are no longer able to react as quickly as you used to be able to react. You can still train to stay on track with that. You don't have to lose that ability, but where you put focus is where you're going to get results. So just remember, where the focus flows, energy goes. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on. So for those of you who are posting into the comments, I'm super excited that you're here, because if you are working with somebody and strengthening up those hips or those glutes, or if you've had back pain or hip pain and you go to see a physical therapist and they say, hey, we need to strengthen up those butt muscles, we got to strengthen up those hips, you got a weak butt, you got no stability. If they're not starting at your feet, they're going into the wrong direction, because you've got to make sure that you are grounded with the feet, and you also have to make sure that the pelvic floor is working the way it's supposed to, which we're covering in the next video today. So you're never too old to balance. That's the most important thing I can tell you. I have a young individual who was in here just earlier this week, 13 years old, blew out an ankle, wanting to play in the sport, and it is the first thing you lose is balance when you injure the ankle. So we're working hard on trying to get that back before we do any kind of strengthening or any kind of shifting from side to side, because if you don't regroup and re-educate and wake up the bottom of that foot, it doesn't matter what you do in the hips or in the butt muscles or in the abs. So just making sure you're aware of that ahead of time. But if you do have neuropathy, make sure, because you can't feel the same, make sure that you're either standing in front of an area that you definitely have got something to hold on to, and perhaps a mirror, because if you can see what you see in the mirror and you can put a feeling or a sensation with that, that is another way that our brain reprograms itself. That's how we can improve neuroplasticity and coordination, as well as proprioception, is when we are able to see what we are doing and we're able to feel and like connect those together. That's a really, really good way to kind of reprogram how your body senses its movement patterns. If you have been through a treatment, or whether you're diabetic or you've got complications or side effects from different processes, procedures of the past that have led to the neuropathy. So yes, if you do have neuropathy, keep going forward, but just make sure that you are using your visuals because your senses and what you actually feel are a little off. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start by just showing you some of these basic exercises, and I've got you here in my hallway of my home so that I can use the counter for balancing. I want you to not worry about how bad you are at doing this exercise and focus on doing it correctly, okay? So if you struggle with trying to do these exercises and it's just, again, it seems something so simple, but I'm telling you, my friends, it's not that simple. And it's one of those things that you've had it before and somehow you've gotten away from it. And if you are afraid that you are going to fall, and so that's why you're here, I can assure you, if you continue to work on this, it is the fastest thing to train in the human body. So in other words, if you've been going to a gym, you've been working on strength, you've been working and doing everything you've been told to do because you're afraid of falling, this is the fastest type of exercise progression that you can experience. In other words, if you have no ability to stand and balance today, and if you continue to work this, come around on Monday, you actually might be able to own most of these exercises that I'm going to teach you. And then we take it to another level. In other words, there's no end in sight. We can make this really, really hard, or we can make it really, really simple. And we're going to start with super simple today. So so let's have fun with this. So I'm going to adjust my camera here for just a second so that you can see everything. Okay. Now, I am the professional. So as you can see, I've got the plates behind me and I got the cords behind me because some of you might trip over that. Don't do that at home. I'm doing it for convenience to keep from having to restage the area, but I'm asking you make sure that your area is clear of hazards, cords and things of that nature, because I'm going to shift here in very few minutes and we'll not have to move everything around. So what I want you to focus on, first things first, is feeling those 3 points. That is number one criteria. Feel those 3 points. And so again, I'm going to change my camera angle here so that you can see everything. Now, in standing here, if I'm all crunched up and I'm putting weight on the outside edge of my feet, you're going to see very little of my big toe touching. So if you think about loading your big toe into the ground, that just changed everything all the way up to my hips. And all I'm doing is taking pressure off of A, which is base of your big toe, and diverting that pressure to the outside edge of my feet so that I'm aware of what my body feels like in a position that it's not supposed to be in. It's not supposed to be in this position, okay? Then I'm going to shift all of my weight, taking pressure off of B on the outside. And remember, B is the outside, right underneath of your little toe, your pinky toe. So we're going to shift weight here to the inside of the foot and to the heel, not so much the outside, because I want you to go from being unstable here on the outside of the edge to unstable on the inside of the edge. And you're going to push that big toe down and you're going to feel a lot of the outside edge of your foot not in contact with the ground. And you're going to feel how that changes your knees. So just changing from here to here changes my knees, because my knees, the job of my knee is to attach the foot and the ankle to my hips, okay? So if you're loading predominantly here to the inside, you're going to have a lot of pain here and you're going to have a lot of pain here. So outside to inside, and now let's find the middle ground and let's go right in the middle with all 3 points. So what I want you to pay attention to is when you're standing here, do you feel anything on your heel or do you feel everything on the front end of your foot? So the ball of your foot is A to B. So this area right here is where that fancy band of tissue is that zings up the back in a positive way. And the heel is C. So we are here on cross A and B, and I can feel C, okay? Now, when we go from here, all I want you to do is pick up your toes. Everything else stays grounded. Just pick up those toes. If you do not have the ability to pick up your toes, that's what we got to start working on sometime. And then I want you to grip the floor or grip the carpet. And when you grip all that, you should feel your arch lift up off the ground. You should feel a little bit of motion. You might not leave the ground, but you might feel it retract up like a spring. Okay? The bottom of our foot is meant to spring load 1,500 pounds of energy, our body forward. So our body expands and recoils, kind of like a spring. So I'm just making you aware of what you're feeling, because if you're not loading and you can't feel on those 3 primary points, then you're going to have aches and pains in areas that you're never going to be able to experience relief because it starts at the ground. Okay? Now, from here, if we lift our toes and we're still grounded, now we're pushing our feet down. We can feel the toes to the ground. So eagle talons on the perch, toes up in the air, curl down and grip, toes up in the air. So we're just doing this right here, okay? Now, this exercise right here is getting things awakened, but it is also going to be strengthening this front part of your foot, lower leg, and that is called the anterior tibialis. It is the second largest tendon in the human body, and its job is to pick your foot up. And if you cannot pick your foot up, then as you get older, into your 70s and 80s, you're just going to be scooting, okay? So we don't want you to scoot. We want you to be able to pick and load and swing through, okay? All right. I'm not going to waste too much time on that. We can go back and rewind and watch it again if you'd like to, because this is going to be shared. You can watch it over and over and over and over again. So next exercise that I want you to work with is regrounding on those 3 primary points. You're going to find something to hold on to just for balance. And you don't want the object behind you. That's why I adjusted. We want the object off here to the side. So whether it's a kitchen counter, whether it's the couch, whether it's a chair, whether it's a bar, whatever you need to. I don't care how well you can balance. I want to make sure you try to do this right. So we are on those 3 points. Hold on to the countertop and pick up one leg and shift all of your weight into those 3 points on the other foot. Drop back down. We're feeling all 3 points on both feet. Hold on. Load all of those points on those 3 to the other side, and then hands free. If you can hold this for 20 seconds without falling, then we're already on the right track. If you can barely hold on to this for about 5 seconds, then we're reloading over and over and over again. The body is very habitual, and it is very excitatory with repetition. So if we are struggling with doing something for the first time, we're going to accept what we are able to do, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just 1 or 2 seconds. We are able to load for that 1 or 2 seconds. We're going to put it back down. We're going to regroup, and we're going to say, I can do this. I am not going to fall, and we're going to reload again. That being said, if you are going through these exercises and you're really anxious, you're really afraid, I don't want to fall, I don't want to fall, I don't want to fall. I can always tell when I'm working with somebody if they have actually fallen or if they are afraid to fall, because they kind of keep a fist, or they will not leave their hands away from their body. Like they're afraid of their space because of what could happen. If you are afraid of what could happen, you're inviting that to happen. So I want you to try these exercises and just remember, when I am able to put more focus and energy into this exercise, then my body and my brain will reprogram, and I will no longer be able to likely fall. Instead of, I'm afraid to do this because I'm going to fall, or I think I'm going to fall, or I already have fallen in trying to do this in the past. So therefore, like if you're really guarded, your body will not receive the information the same way. So instead of doubting yourself, and instead of saying, I'm hoping I don't fall, you're inviting that energy in. I'm proud of myself today for taking the time to work on this. And because I'm working on this, I'm going to be able to stand and balance when my body is ready. Okay. And you just keep working it, because you can do this pushing a shopping cart. You can do this standing at an elevator. You can do this by, you can do it anywhere. So you don't have to be on the video in order to be able to practice these exercises. You can do them anywhere, anytime. All right. Okay. So regroup, reground. 3 points of contact, hand on something to hold on to, load, and then once you feel that you are confident and stable, yes, I can feel those points on my foot, let's take a hand off. If you feel like you need to hold on here, that's fine, but don't let that hip drop down, and don't swing that hip out to the side. This is not a bobblehead moment, okay? If you need to just go from here to here, that's fine. We can just work on this right here. Okay. More importantly, when you're going from here to here, Do not lock out your knee. If you are locking out your knee, your body is shut down because your SI joint locks in and your abdominals no longer are firing. So make sure you're not locking out your knee. Okay, so 3 points, A, B, and C, both feet, hold on to something, load, let go, see how long you can hold that, okay? Seeing how long we can hold on to that. The goal is 20 seconds. If you can do 10 and then you start shaking and trimming, it's okay. You can reload, give yourself a pat on the back, regroup, and let's roll again. And you do as many of those as you can until you're just like over it or until you own it. So when you can do that, 3 or 4 times for 20 seconds at a time without falling, it's time to move on. So let's try the other side. So we're regrounding, regrouping, hold on, lift. And here's the other thing. If you can't get that leg up here, that's okay. We're going to go from here to just here, okay? Now, the lower that your leg is, the more of an interference it is with this trying to figure out where it's at. So if you can go from here to picking that knee up just a little bit more, you're using these abdominals to doing that. But when our foot comes down, and if we're putting our foot here on our ankle, last I checked, you did not walk down the sidewalk doing this, right? So we want to make sure that we're not touching our body in order to rebalance. We're here, we're getting the foot up. If you need to go foot out in front first, and then up, game on, let's try it. So 3 points of contact, hold on, foot comes out in front, just pick it up, hands free. Okay, we can hold, we can load, life is good. Let's try and do it for 20 seconds, okay? So you're gonna hold on, 20 seconds, and let's just see how well you can do that. You're probably going to feel, if your leg does not spasm, you're gonna feel this part of your booty is gonna get really tired. Who would have thought that you could strengthen and shapen that booty by just doing single leg balance? It is really that easy. Okay. So now we're going to go from one side to the other. So we're here, we're regrounding, taking that foot out in front if you need to, then picking it up. Hands are free. Okay, if you bobble, okay. If you need to put your hands on yourself, okay. But when you put your hands on yourself, don't let things in the hips drop because it's lazy. Because if you're walking with your hands on your hips, your body is now no longer connected to the ground the same way, and your body is not moving the way it's meant to move. So if we don't touch our body when we are walking or when we are balancing, our body is going to be so much better off in the real world when the unexpected happens, because you've already taught yourself how to do it in an environment that you feel safe. Okay? So from here to here, or from here to here, side, forward, side, forward. So let's just try this. If you don't want to pick up that leg into a single leg balance, let's just go from side to stepping forward, side, stepping forward, but we're not swinging that leg through yet. So we're not step, right? No, we're just going from standing neutral, 3 points of contact, to stepping forward with arm motion, okay? And if you're really good at doing that, okay, let's take it up a notch. So we're here to here, dropping down to here, back and forth, okay? And we're going to do that on both legs. So we're grounded, stepping forward, out to the side, stepping forward, back and forth. Now, I'm sure that you are probably not walking with the arms up high. That's okay. I'm just feeling a little jam, feeling a little dance. Why not? Hey, and guess what? If you're bored out of your mind with just trying to work on balance and you're frustrated because this just flat out sucks and is boring, then put a little dance to it. Because what is dancing? Dancing is human body in motion. And you have to be able to dance and balance from one foot to the other in order to be able to shift and groove. So if you love dancing, then let's turn this balance exercise from stable to dance forward, stable to dance forward, okay? And just keep working that because it needs to be fun. Otherwise, your body and your brain continue programming on stinking thinking that I can't get this, or I suck at this, or I'm gonna fall. Like, try and find the fun in it, and that's why I love to use it for dance. All right, so We are going from here, balancing, stepping forward, back up to the side, relax. Hand up, balance, step forward, back, out, relax, okay? Then once you get comfortable with that, now your hands free. Up, forward, or here to here, and then back. So we're just back and forth, stepping forward on one, taking back, regrouping, stepping forward on the other, okay? So just something as simple as this is tricky for a lot of people, and that's quite all right. Now, if you want to make this one notch harder without taking to the vibration plate, now we're going to go from here to walking straight line in front. We're going to walk on the catwalk, as they like to say. And when we're walking on the catwalk, we are trying to walk that straight line with a little bit of sass or pizzazz, however you want to look at it, okay? So we're here, balancing, step forward, and load body forward, but not going anywhere. So what I mean by that, from a side angle, we're here, we're loading, stepping forward, pushing through as if we're going to take off, but we don't go there. We come right back and then reload, okay? All right. You can play with that at home. If you feel good with this right here, and we feel good with this right here, okay? We feel good with driving up, dropping down, driving up. You have a walker in front of you. You can work this. You can just do a toe touch. If you got a walker, you can just do a toe touch or a heel drive, okay? But what I want to make sure you're doing is you are feeling with your mind and the ground what you feel in the bottom of your feet. Because if you are used to scooting, your body's going to forget how it's supposed to move. And that's what causes the fall. Your foot gets stuck and then boom, down you go. That's how it happens. All right, we're going to take this to the vibration plate and let's have some fun with this. I'm going to adjust here just a little bitty bit so I don't have my head cut off. Okay, I'm going to start with the little vibration plate. This is the Waver Mini. So if you have the Turbo, the Waver, it all works the same for this exercise. You want to make sure that you have plenty of room so that when you get on, that even if you can just feel your fingertips, if you want to lean into it, that's fine. But if you need to face the counter, you can face the counter and just use your fingertips as well, okay? So we're going to do this a couple of different ways, but I'm just going to start with this direction. I'm going preset mode number 2, and it is on. I'm going to bring you a little closer so that you can see everything. Okay. All right. I want to hear some energy from all you fun people. I'm curious as to what have you learned today that you didn't know before we started? Because we're just now starting the vibration portion of this. I want to know light bulb moment. Like, what have you learned from Amber today that is going to change your life because you just didn't know it and you just thought that that was normal? And so we're just going to try it. If you fail, we're going to fail fast and we're going to figure it out. Because if you haven't tried something before, you're going to fail before you figure it out. So don't be afraid of failing, because I love to fail. I just don't want to fail and hurt somebody. All right, so find those 3 points of contact on your plate. A, B, and C, we can feel. Oh, it feels so good. And here's the other thing. If you are in 3 points of contact on that triangle, and if you can feel that, then guess what? You're going to feel it equally here in your hips too. You're going to get a little shaky, and one side of your hip, you might feel a little more sensitivity on one side than the other. That means there is energy being blocked from going up and down the channel. And so being on that vibration plate in a standing balanced position will help break that down naturally without you having to do anything extra. That's awesome. So we're going to continue to adjust this just a little bit. All right, here we go. So 3 points of contact. Hold on to that space if you need to. The closer your feet are to the middle, the less energy. The wider your feet are, the harder the balance. So if you can't get balance from here to here, then bring your feet closer to the middle. And you might not feel as much energy on one foot, and you might have to load a little wider on the other. So you might feel a difference in how much vibration is entering, because the middle of the plate has the least amount of energy and the outside edges have the most amount of energy. So if you're struggling with getting balance out here, then just bring your foot closer to the inside. Meaning we start here, bring the foot to the inside. You're going to hold on to the counter or the couch or whatever. And after you feel the standing leg grounded on those 3 points, now just pick up the foot. And if you want to go from here to here, you can do that, okay? I like to pick up the foot because you're going to pick up the foot in the real world when you're walking. Okay? Hands free. And if you are okay with doing that, awesome, own it. But make sure that your knee is unlocked or you are cheating, and there's no shortcuts with cheating. Only have bad programming. Back down. If you want to take it a little wider, so it's a little harder, you're only adjusting your balancing leg. So we hold on to wherever we're holding on to, load on those 3 points, pick up that leg, and when you're ready, if you're not ready to take your hands off, then you can stand right here for 10, 15 seconds and get comfortable with this, and then drop back down. Load and go, hold, and if you can go hands free without touching, and if you need to touch, I would rather you touch yourself than not try. So hands free, drop back down. And then we just go into it. So if you don't have to feel, grip, and go, release, hand down, and go back the way we came. If you don't have to hold on because you feel like you can own it, then go from here to just loading, okay? And if you want to feel, if you are sinking or shifting in that hip lean, then you want to make sure that you're in a mirror. You're going to put your hands on your hips and feel where your hip bones are. It does not matter whether you have one leg longer than the other, because I get that a lot. Just find out where your hip bones are. And if you go from here and your hips stay level, your hands stay level, and you can see that in the mirror. So hands are staying level, okay? If you are doing this, that's not a good program. That's bad work. So we want to go from here to figuring out how to keeping those hips level so that we know how to load through our lower body, okay? So from here, and like my body wasn't ready yet, so I rushed into that, regroup, hands free. Now that the speed is getting more intense, so it's getting harder, and that's awesome. If you can't do this with the speed going up, that's okay. We're gonna get there one of these days. Okay, what we do on one side, we must do on the other. So feel your plate, those 3 points of contact. Use the counter if you need to for extra support. Load and feel comfortable. If you feel stable and comfortable, give me a little wave. Hi, Amber. How are you today? I'm so excited to see you doing these exercises because I wanted to do this, but I don't want to go see a physical therapist because that's boring. No, I'm not knocking physical therapists, but there's nothing fun about going to rehab. So let's not call it rehab. Let's call it corrective exercise for a better quality of life. This is good exercise. This is just feeling good. A lot of grouping, a lot of grounding. So we're here. Load, hands free. Give a little spirit fingers. Yay, we're doing it. Put down, back to neutral, okay? And again, if you need to go with your balancing leg closer to the middle because it's too much energy, then just balance on that middle and then just go hands free there. Okay, so from here, if you want to take this to another level of balancing, so if you can hold this without any trouble, we can go from here to here without any issues, then we're going to take this into more of a stepping series. Okay, this should not require, what's really important is if you're used to step aerobics, right? There's a lot of bouncing, okay? I want you to be grounded and stable and in complete control. So when we go slow through the motion, it requires more of our muscles, more of the nerve cells, more going on in order to catch up. The question is, what's the speed? The question is, what is the speed on my plate, or what is the speed of the motion that we're trying to accomplish? If you can clarify that. The speed on my plate right now is an 8, but it does not matter what my speed is because you're comparing yours to mine. And if you don't have the same vibration plate, it's not apples to apples. And my ability and your ability are two different things. We don't compare ourselves to each other, what we can and can't do. Just turn up the speed to whatever is comfortable for you. And if you need more of a challenge, crank up the speed to whatever you feel challenged by. But remember, the slower the speed, the more grounded you can feel. When you can own that, take your feet further apart to where the amplitude, which is the distance in the vibrational shift, when the amplitude is greater at wider, it's a lot harder on your body and on your muscles. When you can master that at speed 8 without any trouble for a period of 15 to 20 seconds, jump up to a speed of 10 to 12. That's on my plate. Every speed on every plate is different. And what you can handle, what I can handle is all totally different. So there's no right speed, if that makes sense. It all depends on whether you have one motor, whether you've got 3, how big your plate is. There's a lot of parameters that go into that. We are not going to complicate this. So just make sure and remember, if you're trying to figure out whether I'm keeping up at Amber's pace, it's not about you keeping up with me. It's about you getting better by just trying to apply it to whatever you have at home. And remember, you don't have to use a vibration plate. You can just do this on the ground. So we're here. We're going to go standing and holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back down. Load. Stand 5. Oh, there's my rough side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Regroup. Making contact if you need to balance and hold on to something. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, one more thing I forgot to share with you. When you are standing on your plate, it is really important to make sure that you are aware if your feet are straight forward parallel. If you are loading on one foot and one foot is turned out, you are already creating more issues in your knee and in your hip. So if you can load on those 3 primary points with your foot more straightforward, that would be ideal, because last I walked, you don't walk with your toes in a triangle formation, okay? We don't want to be in a triangle formation. We want our body to go straight forward. So we can go heel to toe, straight forward line. If you try to walk a tightrope, walking an angled heel to toe, unless you are a dancer or a ballerina, that is really, really hard to do. And it's not good for your body. So try and make sure that you are feet like right through the middle. So if you think between second and third toe, running right through the center of your foot. We don't want it to be turned here because that changes our hip angle, which changes our shoulder angle, which changes our head. If we can be straightforward, straight lines, or at least both feet facing the same direction. So if I go from here to, okay, we're here, I put my foot down sideways, and then I went to reload, and oh, now I'm all over the place. This is bad positioning. So make sure that you are regrouping, and we can go closer together, straight forward, land straight forward, balance and load straight forward, load straight forward. And if you got to look down and make sure that you're where you should be, that's awesome. One more area to consider. If you are looking down at your feet instead of looking straight forward into a mirror, let me show you something. If I'm standing straight forward and looking into a mirror, and I go to look down at my feet, where's my head in front of my body? It is way in front of my body. The weight of your head from here straight forward into a mirror goes from weighing 8 to 10 pounds to weighing 40 pounds right here, which means if you've got 40 pounds in front of your core, your balance just got thrown out the door. So when you are working on this, remember, mirror straight forward, and when you go to step forward and looking down, my head goes down in front of me, so my whole center of gravity just fell forward. So try and stay tall. So another idea to consider, take my shirt off for you. We're going to go ribs to hips. So ribs, hips. If you are here trying to walk around, and your body's in front of you, your head is in front of you, okay? This is having to load and carry so much more weight because the majority of the weight is above it, right? So it's automatically going to throw you forward. I want you to think about you're at a theme park and you have to be as tall as you can possibly be in order to get on the ride. And you are just a little bit too short. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to lift and get nice and tall, which creates separation between our rib cage and our hips. And when that happens, what is really cool about that is it actively fires our most powerful hip flexor muscle, which fuses in with breathing and attaches down to our pelvic floor. So things are working awesome. But if we're here and we're trying to look forward, okay, you are already at a disadvantage. So try and get tall for the ride, which makes you look more confident, by the way. Keep your eyes straight ahead on where you're going because you do not want to look down or you will fall. That's why a lot of people fall. And when people that I know have fallen without knowing that they have fallen, but I can read their body language, they hold a fist or they'll have their hands out here and their body is like really forward because they're ready to catch themselves. You got to get tall. Okay? And if you're used to walking with a walker, your walker will naturally pull you forward into which you start to round. So just remember to stay tall. And if you need to work with a different type of walker, we just don't want the walker to be pulling us forward or you're going to have a lot of balance problems because you're not loading in a straight line from head through crotch. From head, chest, hips, crotch, feet. Straight line. Okay? All right. So going back to here, we're going to go from here to here. Going outside to walking forward. And so if you want to just shift that foot to the forward, we're like pretending like we're taking a step, but we're not taking a step. And if we need to hold on to the counter in order to be able to do this, hey, that's awesome. I'm just proud of you for being able to load onto this leg, into the quad. You're being nice and tall. You're being proud of yourself. Nobody knows you're working on balance behind the door. It's a secret, right? It's awesome. Okay, now from here, now we're going to step back, and then we're going to step up. We're going to step back, and we're going to step up. And if you want to hold on to the counter, step down, step up. Okay? And when you step back, let your body go with you. Okay? I'm going to turn this sideways so you can see again. The biggest mistake that I see with this, with people I work with regularly, is when people step back, they step back like this. But do you see this is not normal walking position? This is running position. We're not training balance to run faster. We just want to be able to walk without falling. Okay? So that is the end of that one. Okay, so restart. Doesn't matter which one. Just get it going. So from here, when you step back, we want to go with. Okay? Which means we have to let go of the counter. Okay? We can lean forward and step back too if we want to. That's fine. But when we step back, I want you to make sure that you are not locking that leg out behind you and you are not leaning forward so you have a straight line from your shoulder to your hip and your foot. I want you more straight up and down. So if you were to draw a line through your head to your hip into the floor, you would be sliding down a pole instead of leaning forward. Okay? So we're here. Step back. Step two, step back. And if you get those arms naturally moving, don't think about how to do it. Just let your body flow with you, okay? And if you get a little wonky, a little wobbly, that's okay. Just regroup. And if you can't get back up, you're here, and you're like, man, I don't know that I can get back up there. Guess what? That's okay. We just step off. And then we just grab the counter, get back on. Okay? Let's try the other leg. So we're going to step back, keeping not this, but we're actually going to go with, going with. Hold on to the counter if you need to. Step back up. Okay? Step back. Yay! We did it, we did it, we did it. Oh, wait. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable doing that because this leg is super wobbly. I'm not going to make it. Okay. Free and clear. Step out. Okay? Lean forward into your counter and then pull yourself back up. And then we just restart. Okay, so we're here. Take a step back. Yay, we did it. Can't do the other one. We're too tired. Lean forward and get back up. That's how you bail out. If you can't get back up because this leg is just quivering, that's okay. Just restart, because the most important exercise in that series is stepping back, because you don't have awareness. You don't see anything behind you. And what you cannot see behind you is the tripping hazard. So if you're not going to trip going forward, you're going to lose balance stepping back, and then now we go kaboom. So when you can do things going backwards where you can't see with your eyes behind you, but you can sense, you are doing something much harder than just standing on one leg. So it's an awesome, awesome exercise, okay? So we're here, and we're just stepping back. And if you step back and that foot is flat, that's okay. It's a good start, but I want you to get used to going with. So foot flat, go with. Lean forward, step 2. Step back. If you choose foot flat, go with and balance here. Enjoy the jiggle. Lean forward, step 2. Okay, so again, I would like to hear from you guys what you're learning and what is like aha moment, like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Because I do these exercises with world-class athletes, professional athletes, senior citizens, the disabled, accessible community. I work with a wide variety of different people, and the exercise does not change just because you are up here in human performance or because you're just not getting started after surgery or after a major fall, okay? Our body needs the same type of stimulus. We are all built with the same type of parts. We are all considered kind of a vehicle, and the vehicle, you got to turn on the engine in order to get it to roll forward, right? It does not matter what kind of tires we have on it. It does not matter what kind of fuel we put in it, but we do have to get the vehicle moving forward, or it is going to rot sitting where it's at. So don't worry about whether you are as good as somebody else or you can't quite keep up with Amber. You just do little things that you are able to eventually conquer. It might take you a week to get some of these basic exercises down. It might take you 2 hours. It might take you a month. Everybody has a different level of neuroplasticity and reprogramming, and it is not age discriminating. It is not sex discriminating. So it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, and it doesn't matter disability or like what you're able to do. So don't worry about like I don't have what it takes, because I'm not going to do that anyways. We all should be working on these types of sensations so that we can truly live our best life, quality of life. And when we make contact with the ground, it is continuing to improve. Speaking, everything changes when we are in line with gravitational energy, because that's how we are built to move. So nothing is too good for you to be able to conquer. So we all should be working on these. Okay. With your vibration plate, you got a series of mini loop bands, okay? Depending on how old your plate is or how new your plate is, your resistance band might be a different color, and that's okay. But if we're wanting to increase the intensity of this, we can totally do that. We don't have to change the exercise, we just add something. So we're gonna put this band around our ankles, and again, if you got your vibration plate from Lifepro, then you have a set of mini loop bands that came with, and these are my favorite. I have gone through thousands of these little rubber bands. They're just like the best thing ever for exercise. So from here, okay, all I want you to do is you need to create tension somewhere. So if you go from here to here and the band is loosey-goosey and around your foot ankle, I want you to create tension on the band. So I want you to keep tension on the band. If you don't want to do it down at the foot, you can do it up into the calf or the mid leg. So from here, just pick up and bring 2. Drop down, pick up and bring 2. Okay? So we're just stepping 2, and you don't have to hold this one unless you want to. Makes it a lot harder if you do. We're just creating a little bit of resistance to picking that leg up, which is a lot harder with vibration and just trying to balance. Okay? If you're not there yet, that's okay. Let's do something else. We're going to take one leg. We're going to go shoulder width apart. We're going to step middle, step to the outside. Step to the middle, step to the outside. And if you want to hold on for this, that's okay. We're working our hips. We're working our thighs. We are regrounding our feet, and we're using our center of gravity in our core. And we're in a straight line, so no bending forward. Don't be looking at how much of a fall you're going to take if you should fall off the front of the 4-inch plate. Just make sure that you're staying nice and tall and that you're having fun with this. If you want to turn on some tunes and like step to the beat, this can be a lot of fun if we choose for it to be, or it can be really boring. Totally your choice. Okay? What we do on one side, we must do on the other. So we are standing and loading, getting stable. Step 2, step out. Step 2, if you want to lift, that's awesome. Step out. And again, if you need to bring that other foot, your balanced foot, closer to the middle, that's totally cool. Okay? Doesn't matter how big your plate is. You just work with what you got. Just side to side. And yes, if you're feeling this in your back and your hips and your thighs, we are turning some new stuff on. It's a party. Nice work. And again, just make sure when you go to load on that leg that you're not locking that knee out, that you're absorbing that energy in the front of your thigh. Okay, now from here, we're going to go standing and holding on to stepping back. We're going to come back to standing and holding, coming back, and you're going with the motion. So we're not leaning forward into a lunge. We're actually stepping backwards off the step, okay? Because some of you might have stairs at home. And we're stepping back onto the plate, and we're stepping back. We're feeling where we're at. Good, we got balance. We're coming back to. This is feeling totally different than if you're doing this without the band. So if you don't feel comfortable with the band, that's okay. And again, let those arms move free. So if you're here and you're coming up and you're dropping down, you're not letting your body balance like it's supposed to. Our body balances based on how our middle spine, so from chest to hips, how it rotates is how we are able to balance. So if you are holding on to your hips when you do this, you can't rotate naturally the way you do when you walk. And so if you're teaching your body to get stronger here, but you're not walking like that, you're miscommunicating and you're tricking your brain. You're confusing your brain. So when it goes to reprogram itself, you're reprogramming the wrong information. So make sure that you're allowing your arms to move, whatever feels natural. Don't outthink it. Your brain already knows what it's supposed to do. We just get in the way. So just however your arms feel natural moving, it's okay. Just make sure that you're not holding on to you unless you're truly trying to feel where your hips are. When we start to move in a forward direction, we want to make sure that we are balancing and that we're rotating. Okay? All right, other leg. Step back, step 2. Okay, if you need to hold on, that's okay. Step back, step 2. You got it. I'm enjoying this with all of you guys today. And again, I want to hear from you at the end. I would love to hear what your favorite exercise was. And if there was something new that you learned today that you didn't already know before you met me today, I would like to hear what that is from you. Because that just makes me feel extra special to people. Well, no, I don't have to do this every day. I get to do this every day. But I'm doing it because I want all of you to be healthy and happy. All right, so we're here. Now we take those arms off. And now we are really getting motion. Nice job. Okay. Okay. Now, I brought both plates. I demonstrated for a lot longer than I had thought. These exercises always go so fast. And something that I hear a lot is, man, these videos are so long. I wish they were shorter. It is a lot of information to cover in just 10 minutes. So if you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, and why are you wasting your 24 hours a day, how you use your 24 hours a day with intention and with the goals that you set forth is how you're going to finish on the other side. So if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you're just doing it for the fun of it, that's awesome that you're doing something. I would so much rather you move than not. but I'm really curious as to how you benefited from today's session, because, I hear people all the time talking about how they're afraid that their family member is going to fall. The worst thing that can happen is, they break a leg and now they're in rehab, or they have a total hip replacement or a total knee replacement. If you have artificial joints, foot, ankle, hip, knee, don't have to worry about it so much up top, because this is not grounding and generating motion all the way through. But if you've got artificial joints from the waist down, your body's already moving mechanically totally different than it's naturally meant to, even if you're pain-free, but you have to retrain some of that stuff so that you don't have a potential of falling, because of what is completely natural is no longer completely natural. And if they don't retrain this after you have your joint replacement, then your brain is just going off of whatever. And what is so miraculous about the human body is hell or high water. If you are bound and determined to go do something, mentally speaking, your body will figure out a way physically to get you there, even if it's dangerous and even if it is not the most efficient way. And you can only do that so many times before your body finally just says enough is enough. And that's usually when pain kicks in, or as I tell my clients, you are only as efficient as your sloppiest movement. And so when your movements are sloppy and you're not grounded and you don't understand how your body is actually moving, that's usually when we start to overcompensate, and that's usually when the pain signals start to kick in and now you're not moving at all. So that's what I specialize, and so I'm super excited to meet with all of you today. Please feel free to post in the comment section as to what your takeaway was from today, how Lifepro made a difference in your life, and what more would you like to hear, because this is my expertise. I've been a barefoot training specialist for over a decade, learning from the best foot, ankle specialists, podiatrists, physicians, therapists in the world. And I've had a fascination of understanding feet and gait and movement patterns since the mid 90s. And so I've been studying it for a long time, and I love being able to make a difference in so many of you. So let me know what we can do to help you, because we're going to continue to bring some of these specialty type of videos to you so that you can continue to thrive at home without having to hire somebody or a therapist to work with you. And make sure, if you have trouble understanding any of this, if some of it doesn't make any sense, make sure and let me know that too, so I can give you a different way of communicating so that you can figure it out by whatever means necessary. So I hope you guys all have a most magical day, a most wonderful day, and I will look forward to seeing you next time.